crazy. It's already week 4 of college football, and what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite college football bets. We got Wake Forest, Clemson, a lot of good games on the menu. And again, for any game you want to bet, you can browse real-time odds on OddsJam completely for free, right? And why should you want to browse odds? Well, you don't want to get ripped off as a sports bettor, right? Like, one thing I always recommend to people is check odds across the sports betting market. Even if a sports book isn't in your location, before ever placing a bet, you want to make sure you're getting the best possible odds, right? Even though I don't have the Betfair exchange in my location, it's a very active sports betting market in Europe. It's a very good source of information. You can see here they have very low vig, low juice. They're giving you the best price on Wake Forest and Clemson. So all this tells me as a sharp bettor, as someone who makes a lot of money sports betting, is no, I don't want to bet on, Wake Forest plus 228 because it's a terrible price. Because I know there's tons of people, tens of thousands of dollars being bet in Europe on Wake Forest at plus 245, right? So using data, kind of OddsJam as your own personal free Bloomberg terminal to see real-time price information throughout the betting market. Even if a sportsbook isn't in your location, check their odds to make sure you're getting a decent price, right? As a sharp bettor, as a profitable bettor, if you want to do this full time, you have to look for value, right? You have to look for value. You have to find value. So you should constantly be scanning the market, looking for value. And these differences, between getting a total at 55.5 and 56, they do matter in the long run. So you always have to be looking for value as a sharp bettor. But anyways, let's get into some of my plays. Let's start hitting some bets, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of bets in this video. So as always, I'm going to start out on the Positive EV betting tool, right? So all this tool does is really take the millions of odds updating in real time from OddsJam and then compare the lines between sportsbooks and show you where there's value. So this, I think I already bet, this Utah State UNLV bet, but what you can see right here is OddsJam is saying, hey, the second best bet for tomorrow, so I just set my date range to Saturday so we could just look at college football. The best bet is going to be on North Carolina minus 4.5 in the alternate spread, right? So as a bettor, I really want to go through all of these bets here and figure out which I like, which I don't like, right? So what you can see is North Carolina minus 4.5. You're only getting plus 130 on PointsBet. Plus 144 is what we're getting on FanDuel. Only plus 123 on Caesars. Plus 125 on DraftKings. It's pretty clear, plus 129 on Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker. So lines have actually been moving, kind of towards North Carolina. They opened as an underdog. Now I think they're favored still on the money line. If we go to the money line, they opened as plus 120 dogs. Now you can see they're all the way down to minus 130. So the entire sports betting market is fading Notre Dame. But you can see right here, really good value at plus 144 on North Carolina. So it's not like there are a lot of Positive EV college football bets available. But what kind of OddsJam does is it scans the market and tries to find you those rare few betting opportunities where sportsbooks are slipping up. So it looks like right now, a lot of those opportunities are going to be on FanDuel. So we're going to be playing mainly on FanDuel. So I already have a bet on Notre Dame minus 3.5 at plus 134. So we can see how that looks. Notre Dame North Carolina minus 3.5. We have that at plus 134. You can see now it's down to plus 126. But if we wanted to, we can double down on North Carolina and we can, play them minus 4.5. Right? So as a Positive EV bettor, essentially, every bet has a mathematical edge, enough to beat the vig, beat the juice. It's kind of like finding a coin in your favor, right? Like if you and your friend are flipping a coin for $100 and the coin is 52% to land on heads, you're going to be like, yeah, when we flip the coin, my side is heads because it's more likely to hit, right? And that coin will still show up on tails 48% of the time and still show up on tails 2-3 times in a row. But over the course of the long run, the coin's 52% to land on, heads, so you're going to make money. So it's kind of the same with Positive EV betting. So you're not going to win every bet. That's not how it works. So we can go ahead here and we can add this to the sheet. UNC minus 4.5 for $100 plus 144. And again, like since football season essentially, or right after week 1, I've been tracking my profit and loss for any plays given out on YouTube. We're up 32.61, so not bad so far. So we have UNC minus 4.5. We're staking just $100, and our profit margin is going to be 1.85%. So you can go ahead and kind of add that in right here. So our bet is worth 185 in EV, right? It may seem low, 185 in profit margin, but if you think that's low, then what you can do is just go, okay, let's bet another 100. Well, it looks like FanDuel logged me out, so we're not going to bet another 100. But you can add this bet to your bet tracker. You know, the bet tracker is kind of a cool feature because it allows you to track your profit and loss as well as if you beat the closing line. So beating the closing line is kind of like beating the market. If you're getting better odds than the closing line, it's kind of like if you buy a stock and at the end of the day, the stock is up, you know, you beat the market that day. So it's kind of the same in sports betting, right? It's not going to be possible to always beat the closing line, but if you're beating the closing line and getting better odds than the market is closing over 50% of the time, you know, you should be profitable in the long run, right? That's the goal. So you're not always going to see green, but you can kind of scan through the bet tracker and make sure you're seeing more green than red, right? So let's get back into this. So it seems like FanDuel logged me out, but we locked in North Carolina minus 4.5, and we can see what other plays we like out there. So the next play is going to be on Caesars. Florida Atlantic plus 6.5 against Purdue. So we can go here. And I think we actually had Florida Atlantic last week in a parlay. We can confirm that, but I'm pretty confident we did. So if we go back here and we can check, I think we had Florida Atlantic and they did well for us. Yeah, they did great for us. We had them in a 4-leg parlay that went 50 to 1,300. So on the first quarter spread, they're plus 6.5 against Purdue. So do we like this bet? That's what we kind of got to figure out. So Florida Atlantic is plus 6.5 on the spread. First quarter. DraftKings is pricing this at minus 120. Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker, they're pricing this at minus 121. So we can kind of open up the odds for the entire market and take a look and figure out if we like the value, right? And I think we do at minus 105. Seems pretty good, right? DraftKings minus 120. So if you remove the juice from DraftKings market, you know, sportsbooks imply win probabilities through their odds. So the fact that DraftKings is pricing this at minus 120, you know, that means with the VIG removed, based on the fact that they're giving you Purdue minus 6.5 at plus 100, that the true price with the VIG removed is going to be minus 109, right? So the true price is minus 109 according to DraftKings model, and we're getting minus 105. So as a positive EV bettor, you're always getting better odds than the no VIG odds, or just the true odds as they're called. The true odds, the no VIG odds, whatever you want to call it. The fair odds, there are a lot of terms for it, zero juice odds. Essentially, the way that bookmakers work is DraftKings has some model, right, that spits out, hey, Purdue minus 6.5 is this probability of occurring. Florida Atlantic plus 6.5 is this probability of occurring, right? So DraftKings is going in reverse. They have a model based on all the action they're seeing in the market, all their data feeds. They think Florida Atlantic covering the spread is 52.17% to occur. So that implies a fair price of minus 109. So does DraftKings let you bet on this minus 109? No, because that's the price they think is fair. They add VIG to their market, they slap their VIG on, and they let you bet this minus 120. Right? And same for Purdue, minus 6.5. DraftKings thinks the true price is plus 109. So they slap on their VIG and they let sports bettors bet it plus 100. Right? It's kind of like being like, hey, you know, it's kind of like being a car dealman and being like, hey, I'll buy this car from you for $15,000 or I'll sell you this car for $20,000, right? That's how car dealerships work. You bring in your used car, they'll buy it, and then they'll sell it to someone else, right? And they buy it for less than they think it's worth, and they sell it for more than they think it's worth, right? So that's how, same thing in sports betting, right? Pinnacle Sportsbook, sharpest sportsbook in the world, most efficient betting market, taking the highest volume of bets. They're pricing this at plus 102, minus 121. So the true odds with the VIG removed is minus 111. So this bet looks even better to Pinnacle. So we'll go ahead and we'll lock it in for $250. And hopefully FAU does well by us once again. So this will be our second play. Then we'll have to log back into FanDuel. So we want this, and then we have $250. The profit margin of this bet is 1.68. So I'm kind of like forming my own hedge fund, mathematically profitable bets. Not every bet's going to win, but I know over the course of the long run, I'm going to make money, right? Because all my bets have an edge. So it's just about placing enough volume, to make that money. So we'll go here, add this here, and then we have 250 minus 105, and this game is tomorrow. So 2 college football bets we locked in, 2 bets with an edge. So again, it's not like most bets are profitable, right? OddsJam is literally scanning all of these markets, half, quarter, baseball, player props, everything, to try to find for you those rare few betting opportunities where there's actually an edge, right? So if we look at the NFL, it's like Saquon over 74.5 rushing yards, plus 110 on Caesars. DraftKings has this minus 115. Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker, is pricing this at minus 116. So it's kind of like, okay, either Caesars is right and the under should be favored, or, we can also open this up in another tab and take a look at the entire betting market side by side. So it's kind of like, okay, either Caesars is right, and other sportsbooks have this total set higher, right? WinBet has this at 76.5. We're getting over 74.5 on Caesars. So this NFL prop looks incredible. But anyways, we'll call it a day for the rest of this video. But hopefully you found this video helpful. And let's make some money today.